So how many years did you serve on council?
I served 30 years, Phil, elected in 1986. I was president of National Council of Women, and in those days there were 20 councillors and a mayor. I didn't really think for one moment I would get on, but I had been involved in a lot of local organisations, so obviously I had a name that I didn't realise I had.
So did you know what you were getting yourself in for?
Yes, I had made it my business to go to a series of meetings of council. I also picked up quite a few of their agendas so that I knew what I was going to be coping with. So yes, I knew what I was getting into, and my father had been deputy mayor in Otahuanga.
So over the period of a couple of decades serving on council, you would have seen a lot of changes. How would you describe all those changes?
In a nutshell, we were more hands-on in the early days, in the late 80s, early 90s. Different manner in making policies, rather than blackboarding them, really nutting them out together as a group of councillors. We tend to get a paper from officers, and perhaps usually with one option, and you either vote for it or against it.
So most of those changes, have they been good or have they been detrimental to development?
Some of them have been good, but the Resource Management Act, a lot of people have criticised it, but I think in the long run it's getting better and better all the time with the amendments. I think it was a good act.
So you've served under 4 different mayors now, and how would you sum up each one's style?
Well, the first one I served with was John Kearney, basic, down to earth, you knew where you stood. He taught me so much, honest, no beating about the bush, straight to the point. Then we had Graham, who was the complete opposite, of course. He was very flamboyant, but in his own way a great advocate for Rotorua, and was a great front man and worked hard, on policy matters as well. Then we had Kevin, and Kevin was the complete contrast to Graham. A wonderful backroom guy, excellent on policy matters. I think he was a casualty of the airport debacle and one or two other things that happened in his 3 terms. So then we saw Steve come in with a landslide, of course, in 3 years ago, and hers is a completely different style again. If you get more the councillors asking the staff questions and the staff replying. So they're more like a clarification process, a question and answer session rather than debate. That was great. It was grand to have Rotorua's first woman mayor.
As she came in with a landslide, how hard will it be for her to defend that?
I don't think it would be with anything like the majority that she had last time. To begin with, you've got 7 candidates, which is difficult, but once again, with that splitting of the alternate vote, tends to favour the incumbent.
So tell me, in all your years there, what are some of the real things which stand out for you?
In the works area, I was very delighted to get Fairy Springs Road and Lake Road done. Then the city development, back in the early 90s. The hockey fields for me were grand.
So when people look around the city, and is there something they'll say, oh gosh, that's there because of Glenys? Howard
Morrison Performing Arts Centre, that's one that I had a lot of involvement in right from the beginning, right from when it was converted from the old civic building.
The end has been probably not how you would have written it if it was your script.
No, if I was scripting it, Phil, I'd be disappointed in the ending. I would like to have gone out in my positions of responsibility, but Steve saw my involvement with the Rotorua Residents and Ratepayers group as a conflict, and so she has the power now under the new Act. As I said to Phil, that's politics.
Spending such a long time on the council, do you think people should sort of have limits to how long they stay there?
On reflection, I think it's probably a good idea, and then take a break, and then you can come back. Just by taking that break, I think for a lot of people, they would reconnect with their community again.
And so what now for Glenys after all these years on council?
Well, I've got plenty to do, Phil. I chair a couple of trusts, small trusts. One of them is Contact Trust, which runs rehabilitation programs for people coming through the mental health system. I'm busy there. I'm chairman of the brass band, and I also am deputy chair at Wharearaha. So I don't think I'll be bored.
Look, all the best and congratulations on an excellent career you've had at the council.
Thanks very much, Phil. It's been a pleasure.